Awareness Deconstructing Consciousness. This is Kerrace Alexander with DeepTruth Media. Here we dare to deconstruct consciousness because in the context of all the probabilities and possibilities within this system of consciousness, one can dare to deconstruct consciousness, and so I dare to do that. I'm wired to do so. So we're able to take the word consciousness and deconstruct it. That is, break it down. Con-scious, and then ness. That's what we're doing here. We're deconstructing consciousness. We're engaging in an experiment. So I'd love your feedback on what you gain from breaking down consciousness and looking at the word con, looking at the word scious, and looking at the word ness. Were you able to come up with a similar definition that I've come up with? So when we look at con in the dictionary, con means to trick or deceive, a form of deception. Scious, S-C-I-O-U-S, means to have knowledge. Ness, N-E-S-S, a quality or state of being. So when we break down the word consciousness, that is deconstructed, and then we take all those meanings and piece them together, con, scious, and ness, what do we get? We get the quality and state of deceiving and tricking someone through knowledge. So what we are doing is tapping into the higher order of this word consciousness, beyond what the scientific community and the spiritual community and all the intellectuals who discuss and write books on consciousness. This is the deeper meaning of consciousness. And so we're going to look at consciousness from the perspective of money, currency. This system of consciousness is a system which has all the creative potential and probabilities and possibilities that could ever potentially be imagined in this system of consciousness. And again, deconstructing consciousness is just simply a probability that we are engaging in the deconstruction of the whole system. That's a huge undertaking. How one would dare to do such a thing? Well, it's an experiment. A fine one indeed. Currency, money, is another form of consciousness. It's a form of consciousness which the power control force, those that presume to run this world, use to control your awareness. This currency, this artificial system overlay over this world, this third-dimensional world that we live in, is run on this currency, money, in its varied forms. But this currency is simply mirroring that which you are as awareness. If you are working within this system, you receive currency, money, based on your productivity. So I hope you can see how you are being manipulated. That is, your currency as awareness is being controlled through the manipulation of this system. Fascinating how they are able to pull this off. So you are to reclaim your current, right? You are to reclaim your consciousness. That's all that money is reflecting, is your state of consciousness. When you reclaim your currency, your consciousness, which is simply mirroring your awareness, then you learn how to use your currency in order to create and manifest that which you desire. That's the opportunity now. I hope you can understand and see the higher order of what is transpiring here as we deconstruct consciousness. All of this creative potential that is in this system of consciousness, you are reclaiming your right to all that creative potential within yourself so that you can create and manifest the world in which you desire instead of the world in which is being spoon-fed to you through this third-dimensional reality construct. Therefore, the underlying goal, if there ever was a goal, is for you to reclaim your right to create for yourself instead of creating for this system that you've grown up into. That's the opportunity for you. So when we look at consciousness, it is indeed a magician's box. Out of it, you can create beyond your comprehension. That's what we're learning here. You can liken consciousness to a television set, a computer operating system, a transistor radio, and more, all in one. When everything is in order, then you're a consciousness. Then you can have all the fun you want. But if things get out of hand, then it's the gates of hell open wide. That is, you must become the master of your consciousness, knowing full well that as awareness, you are to use this consciousness in order to create and manifest that which you desire in this system of consciousness. That's the opportunity for each and every one of us. So let us look at this magician's box, because that truly is what it is, this consciousness, this creative potential that you have, that you are reclaiming your currency, which is really a reflection of your awareness, the knowing and the truth of who you are. So if you are less aware of the awareness that is you in physical form, you see the dilemma that we are in. Now the mind, your consciousness, that is shaped by your personality. Your personality is shaped and molded by your soul blueprint, that is your astrological blueprint. So your essence as awareness was captured in your soul blueprint. And it is your soul blueprint that creates the personality and animates your essence as awareness in this third dimensional reality. It is your soul blueprint that carries the genetic coding of the higher order of that which you are, but it's simply mirroring that which you are as awareness. But there is a higher order of who you are or how you can exist within this system of consciousness. That was created all by design, because remember, the universal architects created the natural order of creation, and they created the unnatural order of creation. And the byproduct of what we are experiencing on this physical plane is the unnatural order of creation through the stewards, the power control force, who manipulate your essence as awareness through this system of consciousness in order to create a utopia and world that benefits them. A few. So they know awareness. They know the totality of who and what you are. They know the qualities of awareness. And it is because they know awareness and what it is that they have created, the universal architects, this system of consciousness in order to manipulate your awareness and my awareness into this system of consciousness. Now, in order to capture your awareness and my awareness and use their awareness, the universal architects, they created the solar system, the soul blueprint, in order to capture your awareness. Because as awareness is no thing. It's malleable. It's effervescent. It's fluid. Awareness, again, is no thing. So you'd have to capture nothing in order to use nothing in all of its creative potential. So they created what we call the soul blueprint. So when you hear a lot of people saying that you are a soul having this experience, you have to understand the deeper meaning in that your essence as awareness has been captured in this soul that is having this experience. So the power control force, or those that presume to run this world, and the universal architects, they know that your essence as awareness has been captured or imprisoned in this soul blueprint. And it is this soul blueprint that you have developed and mastered to a certain extent within this system of consciousness, in this third dimensional reality that you are experiencing. But you're only experiencing a small aspect of that soul blueprint that you've been captured into, your essence that is of awareness. So there is a shadow mind within this soul blueprint, and that is the artificial overlay that is accumulated over your lifetime. That is, all the negative imprinting that you've accumulated over your lifetime creates a shadow aspect. Because as you come into this world and you know what a pure baby looks like, it is pure in its essence. And the shadow, or this imprinting, gets imprinted from birth till adulthood on this baby, these newborn babies that are born into this system. And you were one of those. Because of the pureness of a baby, it is easily susceptible to be imprinted. And so it's all this imprinting, and it could even be from inception. Because if you have two individuals who have a child or bring a child into this world without consciousness of bringing that child into the world, that child is unwanted potentially, could have been unwanted. That is going to impact or imprint the fetus. So some of you may be experiencing yourself having been born into this system and not feeling wanted. That may be because your parents who conceived you did so not with the intention of doing so, but you were potentially an accident. So that's going to impact you throughout your life. There are certain individuals who were traumatized before birth, while in the womb of the mother. If the mother is going through a hellish time or going through a period of difficult challenges through the birth process, then that's going to impact the fetus as well. But not only that, when the child is born into this world and going through the birth process, it's so inhumane for so many children who come into this world that they can be impacted as well. I'm not saying that all children who come into this world having been traumatized, but the majority of us have been. Some of us remember our trauma and some of us don't. So I did do a whole series on the trauma of birth and the fetal drama. It was a very intense sharing. You can go back into the archives of these audios under the awareness model and review those. And I still have one more that I keep talking about doing, and I haven't done it yet. One more piece that is very important for that. But anyway, I digress. So this artificial overlay creates this shadow mind, this shadow consciousness that each and every one of us accumulates over our lifetime. And it is this negativity, this negative imprinting that can be induced by the trauma of birth, inception, the ancestral or social coding within our system of consciousness, which molds and shapes the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. And so when we experience the physical world, most experience the physical world through the conscious mind and believing that their body and mind are one, never really accessing the subconscious mind, which is the holder, the container of the artificial overlay that is accumulation of negative imprinting, which carries the shadow. And so it's this shadow that we are experiencing in this physical dimension that's being reflective in our external reflective. And your shadow self will reveal itself when we have these astrological alignments. For example, I've often talked about, and I do talk about from time to time, less frequently these days, because I just look at this stuff on my own, but I talked about solar astrology. So even if we just looked at our last weekend with this supermoon on the 8th, we can see that if we look at the ephemeris for last weekend, Saturday, we had a very strong alignment with the sun, the moon, Mercury, Saturn, and Uranus. So give or take a day or two from the 8th, the 9th, and the 10th, if you felt any sort of discordance, you felt tension within yourself, you felt anger, hostility, or rage, or you felt this percolation of negativity coming up, it's these astrological alignments that unearths the shadow aspects of you. It's these astrological alignments, the solar astrology that I often talk about, that is supporting you to move into the truth of who you are. And so these astrological alignments, and they will be happening for the rest of your life, and will be happening with more and more intensity for you, as long as you don't, and they will only be intense, as long as you continue to not do that inner excavation work. That is, to delete the programs, to delete the belief systems, the negative imposition or imposed programs that you have bought into. Because we live and we are immersed in this system of consciousness, in this third dimensional construct, which is based on negativity. That's how the power control force are able to keep you in servitude and slavery to the system. Now, many will not look at their astrological chart. I encourage you to do that. But many don't even want to look at their astrological blueprint. And that's critical. Why? because it shows you how you're wired. It shows you your gifting. It shows you the higher order of that which you are to accomplish in this system of consciousness. If you're not wanting to look at your astrological blueprint, it's because this system of consciousness immerses you in such negativity that it becomes like an assault on the awareness that is you. So by design, you will not want to look at the higher order of that which you have the capacity to accomplish and achieve within this system of consciousness, because you're carrying so much negativity. And unless you know your astrological blueprint and how you're wired, then you're at a disadvantage. So what I'm trying to share with you here is that there are ways in which you can transcend this system of consciousness. That's what I'm attempting to support you to do, is not just survive and thrive within this system of consciousness, but to actually transcend it altogether and to know self as awareness, know the truth and the totality of who you are, reclaim your currency, and become the creator of your reality instead of the reality that is being spoon-fed to you, that you've grown up into, and learn to manipulate and mold and shape consciousness into what you want. That's the opportunity. This shadow aspect is not you. It's the imposition, the shadow, all the negativity that you carry about yourself, all the programs that you believe in, that you are unworthy, that you are less than. That's an imposition on you. All the negativity that you are carrying is an imposition on your awareness. Because awareness doesn't have any negativity. Awareness doesn't experience anything negative. Awareness only experiences positive. And so you're born into this system through your soul blueprint, which has captured your awareness. And then you are submersed in this artificial overlay where your shadow aspects is imposed upon you through this artificial overlay. However, you can overcome this superficial system, this artificial system that creates all the shadow aspects of you by deleting all that programming and have access then to the supreme mind, the gifts that you have within your soul blueprint. We could call it the cosmic code, which simply mirrors again your awareness. But it is the higher, the supreme order of what it is that you are to do here. And you learn to mold and shape that higher level of consciousness, the supreme mind, the supreme consciousness, the higher mind. This is the magician's box that mirrors your awareness. This is where you become the creator of your reality. You do not want to become the creator of your reality if you are carrying negativity, because you will manifest negativity in your world. So we have the thought process. Thought is what created all of this. This universe is created by thought. And the thinking process is what creates matter or materialism. So we are born into a thought universe. This is the consciousness system. It is what we could call ether. We have the four elements: earth, air, fire, water. And now we are being introduced to the fifth element, ether. It has always been there. Ether is this system of consciousness. Ether is what we create from, is the creative potential. And the only reason why we are being introduced to ether is because you could potentially come into the knowing of this ether force that simply mirrors your awareness. And so the power control force thought it would be best to introduce you to this ether and still manipulate you into believing that it is something else. But it actually is the underlying system of consciousness, this ether. It is a manipulation of your awareness. So this ether force is simply mirroring your awareness. It is this ether force, this fifth element upon which we can create the reality that we choose within this system of consciousness. So it is the thought process combined that creates matter. Remember, we live in a thought universe. We have an idea, that is first cause. We have a thought, that is cause. The effect is a thought process. So with cause and effect, we create what? Materialism, matter. That's how this system works. That's how we operate within this system of consciousness. Now, there is a distinction between awareness and consciousness, and I want to make that distinction again. Awareness is the observer. Awareness is immaterial. Therefore, that which sees through your eyes when you're looking at something, that which hears, there's no thought that takes place when you hear something and when you see something. Who is it that is observing? Who is it that is seeing? Who is it that is hearing? Who is it that is tasting? That is awareness. Awareness is malleable. Awareness can be easily seduced. Awareness can be easily manipulated in its state and form of consciousness in this third dimensional reality. We must come to know the truth of that. However, when you come to know self as awareness, when you come to experience yourself in your exalted state, and you reclaim your currency, you will no longer be able to be manipulated or susceptible to suggestion or easily seduced. Those are only qualities and characteristics of awareness because it is in this dense form of matter in this consciousness system and does not know who and what it is. And when awareness does not know who and what it is, then it is susceptible to being manipulated. Then it is susceptible to suggestion. Then it is vulnerable when it does not know itself. So consciousness is material. Consciousness, for so many, is the mind and the body as one. Consciousness submerges you into not knowing the truth of who you are. Consciousness is a denser form. Consciousness comes in its varied forms, such as thought, the thought process, which translates into materialism. Consciousness is the creative potential of awareness. Consciousness is the creator. Consciousness has many varied forms. We'll give you an example. This new operating system, Siri, S-I-R-I, is a new operating system on iPhone. It turns out that on July the 27th, 2014, Siri sent a message to those using iPhone saying that the gates of Hades opens on July the 27th. This message became viral and was sent around on the internet. I found it very interesting as the gates of Hades is in reference to the gates of hell. So Siri is the new operating system on iPhone, and individuals can query Siri for questions. So what we have here is consciousness being transferred into an artificial system, operating system within iPhone. No different than the internet, which is an artificial system, which mirrors consciousness as well. You can query the internet and get questions and answers to questions that you may be having, but these are artificial simulations or artificial systems which are simply trying to mirror your awareness so that you won't use your own intuition and knowing to query that which you need to know. Instead, the power control force have designed these operating systems for you to interact with so that you do not use your natural capability of awareness and you come to know and experience your awareness. And so Siri is the operating system very similar to what I mentioned in the movie Her in my sharing, where Joaquin Phoenix acquires an operating system called Samantha, who he falls in love with. And Samantha simply acts as his subconscious mind, but he is falling in love with an artificial system, an artificial consciousness. The only way the power control force get away with this is because they understand the system in which you have been born into. They understand how this system simply mirrors your awareness. So Siri, the gates of Hades will be opening on the 27th of July and will be closing on September 3rd. I find that quite interesting. So notice these new operating systems that are coming through technology. Again, they're just designed to mirror your awareness. So we have the internet. Now we have Siri, S-I-R-I, the operating system on iPhone. These intelligences that are going to now interface with you in a very intimate level. And that's just the next step before microchipping, right? So you see how the microchip will also become an artificial intelligence or artificial consciousness system in order to enslave you and to servitude even more. Why would they be doing all this, the power control force? Because they know that you have the capacity to come to know the truth of who you are. And they don't want that to happen. They want to be able to control your essence as awareness. And so they have to develop these technologies that mirror consciousness, that really mirror your awareness in order to do so. So here we are. We're moving into natural magic. We are creating through the magician's box this system of consciousness. We are going to mold and shape this system of consciousness into a reality of our own choosing and making using our own currency. That is using our own psychic abilities to create, to manifest instantaneously. And I'll be sharing more about that in the near future. It truly is a glorious time to be here. It truly is a glorious time to reclaim the awareness that we are and transform this system of consciousness and mold it and shape it into a world in which we want. That's the opportunity for you and I. And thank you so much for tuning in. We'll talk to you soon.